Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Study Hall, the show where we, you know, kind of do the research so you don't have to ever like see a story in the news or something like a proposed law, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, what's going on?
What is even happening right now?
Exactly.
So today's deep dive is going to be on one of those topics.
Okay.
It's a proposed law, and it has a pretty interesting name. I think you'd agree.
I would say that it does, yes.
Okay.
The Disgraced Former Protectees Act.
I mean, right. It's
very...
It's certainly memorable.
It's like right out of a,
it is.
political satire or something.
Yeah.
But it's a real bill.
It is.
H.R. 8082, yay.
It could have some major consequences.
Right.
So basically, this act is trying to change who gets Secret Service protection and for how long, specifically if they're a former official and they've been convicted of a crime. So if you are an ex-president and you end up breaking the law, you might want to think about getting your own security detail.
Try.
Right?
Yeah.
Following me so far?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's a significant shift for sure.
Yeah.
To really understand what's going on, we kind of need to look at the current law as it stands. Section 305(6) of Title 18 of the U.S. Code, it essentially outlines who gets Secret Service protection, how long they get it for, and under what circumstances that protection might change.
Okay, so break it down for us a little bit. Like, who gets this protection and for how long?
So as it stands right now, the president and their family are obviously protected while they're in office.
Right.
And then for a period after they leave office, former presidents get lifetime protection as well as their spouses.
Okay.
There are provisions for children and other officials.
Right.
But those often have time limits or specific conditions attached. Gotcha. So everybody listening is all caught up on how things currently work.
Right.
So now enter this new act.
Yeah.
With the very pointed acronym. What exactly does the Disgraced Former Protectees Act want to change about the existing law?
So it really zeroes in on something very specific.
Okay.
It wants to amend Section 305(6) to state that any former protectee who is sentenced for a federal or state crime that carries at least a 1-year prison sentence loses their Secret Service protection.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Wow. That's pretty
It's a hard line.
hard line.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about, like, okay, what could happen here?
Yeah.
What are the dominoes that are going to fall? So let's say a former president is convicted of a felony after they leave office.
Right.
Are they really just going to lose their security detail just like that? Like, what are the practical implications of that?
Well, that's where things get really interesting and potentially messy.
Right.
We have to remember the Secret Service isn't just about, standing around looking imposing.
Right.
They conduct threat assessments.
Wow.
They plan secure travel routes. They coordinate with local law enforcement.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it's a whole intricate system.
Yeah.
Removing someone from that system, especially someone as high profile as a former president, raises a lot of logistical and security questions.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just like the logistics of it all, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, think about all the high-profile cases we've had in the past. This act could have had a major impact on American history.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine how things might have played out differently?
It's a fascinating thought experiment.
Yeah.
But, it also highlights the potential ripple effects of such a law.
Right.
It's not just about one individual. It's about the precedent it sets and the message it sends.
That's a good point. So speaking of messages, let's talk about the people behind this act.
Okay.
Who are they, and what are their arguments for pushing for this change?
So the bill was introduced by a bipartisan group of representatives, including Thompson, Carter, and Lee. Their primary argument boils down to accountability.
Okay.
They believe that public figures convicted of serious crimes shouldn't receive special treatment, even after they've left office.
Okay.
They argue that maintaining Secret Service protection for convicted felons sends the wrong message and undermines public trust.
Okay, so it's all about holding people accountable for their actions.
Exactly.
And all of that. But I imagine, as with most things, there's another side to this story.
Right.
What are some of the concerns that people have raised about the Disgraced Former Protectees Act?
Right. One of the key concerns revolves around the concept of due process. Critics argue that stripping someone of their security detail based solely on a conviction, even before any appeals process has played out, could be seen as a violation of their rights.
So you're saying that someone could potentially be denied protection while still fighting their conviction?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of a big deal.
That's a big deal.
And there are other concerns as well.
Okay.
Some argue that even if someone is convicted of a crime, they still deserve a basic level of security.
Okay.
The argument here is that personal safety shouldn't be a bargaining chip in the legal system.
Right. That's a really good point. It kind of gets to the heart of what this whole deep dive is all about. Like, what do you think about all this? Is this act fair? Is it necessary? Is it too extreme? How do you weigh those arguments for accountability against? Concerns about due process and safety. It's a lot to think about.
It is. Okay. And I think that's the most important takeaway here. There are no easy answers when it comes to balancing security, accountability, and the complexities of the legal system. The DISGRACED Former Protectees Act forces us to confront these tough questions head on.
Totally. And whether you agree with this law or not, it really raises that critical question of the balance between security and accountability in our society.
Exactly. And, it's also a reminder that even seemingly settled aspects of our system, like who gets protection and why, are constantly evolving. The conversations we have now about this act could shape how we approach these issues for generations to come.
That's true. And on that note, we encourage you to keep the conversation going. You can find the full text of H.R. 8081 on congress.gov. We definitely recommend you go check it out, see what it says for yourself, form your own opinion. This act really makes you think about the kind of society we want to build. And the role accountability plays in that vision.
It also begs the question, could this act, if it's passed, actually influence the way future presidents behave while in office?
Interesting.
Something to ponder, for sure.
Food for thought indeed. Well, thanks for joining us for another deep dive here on Study Hall. We'll be back soon to help you navigate the complexities of the world around us.
Sounds good. Good.